We have a meeting of the Goffstown Economic Development Council. It's about 6:35 on Tuesday, the 26th. Welcome to the meeting, and my name is Dan Reedy. I'm the chair. We'll go around the room and introduce ourselves.
Marie Boyle, secretary.
Steve Griffin. Matt Monahan.
Alan Yaton, Planning Board Representative.
Steve Langley. All right, and we can entertain a motion for the meeting minutes from December 22nd.
I'll move adoptions written.
Okay. Motion made and seconded by whomever else was here. Who would that be? Alan. Okay, very good, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Yep, one abstention. Old and new business. Goffstown Industrial Corporation is not here this evening. So Destination Goffstown follow-up is the next item on the agenda. And the website, Steve.
We're having a little slow time here, but we're moving. Neil's other IT guy is out with a bad knee. In fact, he's had the operation successful, but it's backlogged stuff in terms of making any progress. But we're looking at the Joomla formats. I've got a whole set of sort of, they call them skins, but it's like the format or the framework that you use. And I did, and I'm gonna, since Alan Yeaton and Al DeRusso were the two people being involved with that for this committee, I'm gonna give Alan a copy of an email I've got, which is what I sent to Neil relative to looking at Newmarket, the Newmarket site.
Yes.
And Alan, if you look at Newmarket site and see if you concur with my comments when you do that. And I've got a copy for Alan. That'd be the best way for us to make sure it'll get the direction we want it to. The other thing that happens is the selectmen, and I'm not sure if it's this coming Monday or the next one, are re-accepting all their grants that, because of the new fiscal year. But that'll be just an act that has to happen. There's no problem with that. And obviously the money came from this partially from a CTAP grant, so they will re-accept it. And the grant keeps going until July. It's because they're on a different fiscal year. So there's no.
Until July?
Yeah, June 30, July 1.
Okay.
So there's no issue
Okay.
as long as we continue to make progress. So that's where it is. Slowly making little bits of progress.
Good. I did take a peek, by the way, at Newmarket, and then also your suggestion about taking a peek at how Concord had some of their stuff set up, and that was pretty nice as well. Remember you mentioning
Right, some of their
their
park and rec
parks
stuff.
and the way they, yeah,
Kind of information they brought together.
supportive data for parks and information and mapping and so on, so that's pretty cool. Good. All right, business contacts. Steve, have you been able to reach Jutris at all?
No, I didn't try again after I saw the sign,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I threw in the towel.
Yeah, okay. All right, and Tyflot is on here. About a month ago or so, Steve had sent me an email in reference to something he had seen in the paper for a company called Tyflot, which is Reggie Morrow. And what's Reggie's other company? He's a builder in any case. And he had been to the planning board, was it Rain? No, Epping?
Down Seacoast. Was one of the towns on the Seacoast.
Yeah, or in that direction at least, yeah.
He got turned down, didn't
He
he?
got turned down. So in any
Raymond.
case, I had Raymond,
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
and so we had both seen it, and Steve emailed me and suggested maybe we should inquire. So I did talk to Reggie, and he indicated that they currently have about 10,000 square feet. They're busting at the seams. They have 14-foot ceilings. They could, look at a building with more space. Higher ceilings would be fine too. They could always stack. They're selling. They're sort of a in-between market, I guess, right? They're moving product overseas for, was it energy?
My mind's gone on what it was, but it's product that he warehouses and comes in and out primarily small trucks, not giant ones, primarily UPS and those kinds of haulers. And the question was, could we find any spot for him in town? Our discussion was, it appears that he's looking for low-cost space, and so he thought existing buildings would be a
Cheaper way
a
out.
cheaper way out, and but we don't really have any existing buildings to offer. I don't know whether anyone can create a new building at a low cost to be competitive, but that's there's a user who needs space. And the discussion appeared to be the location wasn't that important, right?
Right.
He didn't need to get on to 101, or he didn't need to get towards the coast. He just had a space problem.
Right. Nor was there an urgency, really. But he, it was sort of an opportunity apparently that had presented itself to him, so he was trying to see if that would work, and it was, I guess, maybe too close to residential, or it was in fact in a residential area, and so it was not received too well in the community. So, but anyway, if anybody can think of anything bigger than 10,000 square feet, that's existing, that might be a good deal. I mean, he's looking for an opportunity. I mean, he could build himself too.
Vacant high bay space is at a premium right now.
Well, maybe someone ought to build something.
Anything 18 to 24 feet
Mhm.
clear.
What height does he need?
Well, he's got 14 now. So he indicated he's got 10,000 feet and 14-foot ceilings. He's packed, so he could use bigger space, and he could either go out or he could go up more as well. So he's flexible that way. He could stack, he said. So bear in mind.
Well, if anyone thinks of something, why don't you call either directly if you want to, or let us know, and we'll make contact.
He does have a website, but I know when I tried to go to it, there was a warning about going on, as if it had been hacked or there was something potentially wrong. So there was a warning about going into it, so I didn't go into it. But in any case, he was fairly easy to reach, so. All right.
And he has more than one thing going on.
Well, he does. He actually has another business in Berwick that he started recently. Reggie's always been doing a lot of business. Of course, he did a lot of residential construction over near Massabesic Lake. I don't know if you know where those, you can see them from the highway from exit 1 coming back to Manchester. On the right-hand side, all of that housing in there was primarily his construction. So.
He did the Extreme Makeover house.
He did the Extreme Makeover on 2nd Street, yeah, in Manchester. So, and my recollection is his roots are from town here too. But I could be wrong, I'm not sure.
I think it is too.
Yeah, I almost think he went to Goffstown and,
West side.
did he? Yeah? I'll have to ask him next time I talk to him then. All right, 250th anniversary. Matt, do you have anything for the town?
No, I know we were talking about, yeah, not yet.
That expo? And that's coming up in
Scott?
May, right?
Bay.
Scott is trying to round up a mailing list of all businesses from the tax office and the front office and other offices that might have lists.
Okay,
So I think he will be probably successful in a day or two, and I think wants to have a mass mailing to businesses to invite them to
Yeah.
participate.
We were talking about that at the 250th.
Okay, so that's the only piece I heard
and
between.
did we decide we had, or were we asked to have a role in there? Was it to set up?
He wanted you,
Remember.
he was suggesting that the group could be follow-up contacts after a mailing
Mm-hmm,
to give businesses to participate, and that would be a way to meet the businesses. And that maybe as part of it, we should do something in addition that would fold into it,
mm-hmm,
be it some kind of either get-together or a seminar or something
mm-hmm.
that would fold into it.
Eric Be nice if there were some serious graphics, like the Goffstown Village map that you got there of 114, indicating from the Economic Development Council that might indicate available properties, zoning,
Mm-hmm,
those kinds of things that would be of interest to somebody that might have a small business that wants to expand. They know where they can, or they
mm-hmm.
at least lead them to the right parties.
So we might plot where the available properties are.
We could do that, certainly. Particularly, we have ones that are zoned properly, and there are a number of
And
them.
you could, as a planning, you could have a fill in the blank. My name is so-and-so, and I do this, and I'm interested in that, and give it back to us, maybe for some individual follow-up.
Hmm.
That might, you never know where it might go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But there are people out there always thinking about something, whether
Right.
it's a new project, or new business, or relocating, or expanding. The hardest part is finding out who they are. And so if you can
Yeah.
even get a one-page fill in the blank, all we want is a name and a phone number, what you do, and what you
What their
might be
needs
interested
are.
in, and
Right.
we'll, and promise them a follow-up.
Mm-hmm. Good idea.
But it's pretty easy to, I don't know
No.
if it's easy, I shouldn't say easy.
No, we can do it because it's limited and we know where they are. There aren't, at least the majority of the vacant land that's actually vacant, you're outside of 4 different subdivisions.
But I say, when it comes to business, just identifying what's zone business.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And zoning map is obviously exists already, it's usable, yeah.
But you might want to expand on that one in terms of 3 areas. You got the Goffstown Village, you got the Bernardville, and then you've got the interconnection between
Mm-hmm.
the rest of it. That
Mm-hmm.
So you might have actually 3 different displays, because they all have 3 different criteria. Especially here with Main Street and
Mhm.
all those kinds of, because you could also list those organizations that are involved in businesses in those areas, like Main Street, or there used to be a Bernardville Businessmen's Association or something years ago, but they don't do anything anymore, I don't believe.
No,
But all leads should probably come back to planning and economic development somehow.
And isn't there actually a link too for a Bernardville group on the town's website?
with the group, I believe is non-functioning at this point.
Okay.
It's the same group he
The
was
one you're
talking
t-
about.
yeah.
But you know, if you had an individual's name that was either recently or in past involvement with that organization, they should be sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
If we knew, I don't know who they are, so I couldn't tell you whether I know them or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if someone were on this group were to know that an individual there, that's the one way to get inside to them
Mm-hmm.
and get them
La
here.
Rochelle.
Who?
La Rochelle,
Larish, yeah,
Dan?
Oh, Danny.
King Bowling
I
Green.
mean, I think he was one of the prime,
Bowling alley, King Bowling alley?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
But I mean, there's got to be somebody out there that we might know that
Mm-hmm.
we could get here so we include them and we don't exclude them in any fashion. I mean, this town is unique. They got too many village centers.
Many.
Well, they all have their own, they're all driven by a different motive
That's right.
Well, right, a history,
and a history,
Mm-hmm.
so.
mm-hmm,
And a little different in their markets too,
mm-hmm.
in truth. At least some of the businesses.
All right,
Yeah, I guess Scott should fill us in too when he's next back. He also talked about, the council doing something, in addition to the, as a special activity at a business expo. I don't know
or
if
at the
any-
conclusion or something, or late in, I don't know, yeah, I'm trying to
I
remember
mean,
that.
it's as if you know how you can get people to come and do seminars on where you can borrow money and how to assist businesses, those kinds of things
Mm-hmm.
from the state and other people. I don't know if you wanna do anything, but I would expect it. the state's economic development office would be glad to come and do something
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
at an activity.
Mm.
You mean like the Department of Resource and Economic
Yeah.
Development? Somebody
Mike
from that
Bergeron does
organization?
Yes.
Mike Bergeron,
yeah,
at where?
Dread
At Dread?
comes around and does a little,
There is some local connection to Dred that they encourage, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who it is.
Well, we just call them up. They obviously help push and sponsor the Metro Center with Manchester to get that started, and they're still involved. But they would come out to a town.
Well, maybe we try to put some little kind of forum together or something that includes somebody like that, and then, what's the guy, Mike, from the chamber as well?
That's a good idea.
Mike,
that came a few months ago.
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
especially since now we have an official connection with the chamber.
Well, and he would talk to Metro Center, which is marketing for
Mhm.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think about it, it's,
Well, they should be included in whatever
Yeah.
presentation.
Right.
But should we all walk around with green hats so we get to talk to everybody? You know, so they recognize that here we are, instead of just being another person on the
Mhm.
floor,
Mm-hmm.
and they can take an active role as participants in this group to be there and go around and talk to people. It can lead to who knows what.
You got the hats? We're gonna have a certain label on them, or?
Yeah, I mean, the green hat was just a fun thing.
okay.
All right. Anybody else we
I'll put
should,
a tie on for it, actually. I think I still have one.
with that shirt?
No, I have a couple I brought back from Africa that I'd wear that would really stand out.
Oh. Anybody else we should be thinking of having at that too, if we were gonna have some type of a forum with
Sure.
somebody from Dread and trails?
Ray?
Something on trails, something,
Yep.
they've created a map. I think we'd like to.
The
invite
tourism
you to-
piece, to talk about that?
Huh?
The tourism piece, sort of, to talk about that as well as it relates to economic
Well,
development?
the thing is, you got captive people there, and if you had the little flyer printed out or something like that, we could probably, a lot of those would disappear, and when you've got a lot of people from Goffstown
Mhm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
um,
Good idea.
What else have we got currently going? We got the website. If that's done in time,
It shall be, or
Huh?
I'll strangle somebody.
yeah, okay. If it's done in time, we should have a
We can-
website demonstration
right.
right there.
Right. That'd be pretty easy to do.
So hands-on, so if somebody was there and wanted to know how to get around in it, in 2 seconds, someone probably could show them how to manipulate it in a quick fashion, so
Mhm.
that, to someone who is unfamiliar with it.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right.
Okay, if, we need to touch base, I guess, with Scott
Mm-hmm.
and the committee. Who's the best person to touch base with, Marie, to not step on any toes? Is that Scott's?
Scott and Elizabeth DeBrule are the co-chairs of the 250th.
When is their next meeting? You know?
Oh, God, yes, I do.
Maybe that would be helpful too, is
I'll
maybe one
find
of
out
us could
for
go
you.
there.
I'll
and
find
maybe
out,
could-
I'll email you.
Yeah,
Okay.
cause maybe I could go to that meeting.
Probably should,
Mhm.
because I could start calling, getting some of this together. but
Okay.
We ought to touch base before we jump too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing is, your days are numbered.
Hmm?
Your days are numbered,
Really?
Right.
literally.
Yep.
One question is, how do we move forward from this? And
Well,
can we implore you to help us from time to time? Or
the
we
town,
need to hire you as a consultant
Well,
I
to
think
see
the town
things.
is already,
the town is going to, or has asked me to come in for a couple days a week during the transition period, which they've only so far said is like about 5 weeks or something, and it could be longer, that's all they've committed to. So I will do that.
Is there another person that's gonna take your place?
Well, I think they're gonna hire, they have a set of, a big pile of resumes.
Okay, so there's been a notice out there.
Yeah, and they do have resumes back, and I think they're gonna start interviewing in February.
Do we ever,
which is-
do we get, as a group here, get a say-so since you're involved? with this
I
group?
got an email from Sue today asking, and Lowell also got, Lowell's chair planning, I believe, right?
Mhm, right.
So I know we both got emailed and asked what our schedules were between now and the 12th. So, to schedule some interviews.
Okay.
So,
So that's where it is, and whether, how fast people give notices or whatever, I think that's an awfully quick schedule. But if they're moving, then they should move pretty quickly, which is good.
mhm.
It'll be April.
Yeah, it's bound to be a couple
Oh,
months
I
anyway,
think
so.
at least,
Yeah.
realistically, so.
Okay.
All right. Before we move to the other business section, Ray, did you have something you wanted to,
No, I
Just a
basically
visitor?
tonight to listen.
You can move up to the table here if you'd like. Right here, I got a vacant chair.
We finished the signboard,
You can pass that picture
the
around.
reservoir,
Good.
and, I'm in the process of, you can pass these around.
Okay.
In the process of making some trail signs for each and every trail that we've got out there. It'll take me a while, but
Can we enlist a high school, any high school program to build those for you?
fine. I'm only talking about 20 little things, and I've got 3 done already.
Do it with a router, or, good?
I invested in a router and a sign-making kit, so
And you're enjoying yourself.
I'm having a good time.
Yes,
That's
nothing
the
else
most
better than-
important part.
Well, good.
That's
Good.
great, that's great.
You got all the wood material you need?
If you've got any, scrap wood that you,
What kind?
Yeah, any kind of particular wood,
um,
hardwood, or?
I'm right now I'm doing the trail signs in 2x4.
Oh,
Something more than 1-inch stuff.
Yeah, so you can route them and they'll still not cut your finger on the backside.
Right. Well, if somebody whacks them with something, I don't want them to fall down the first time they take a
Yeah.
shot at it.
all right, Steve, you wanna talk about the economic development study?
Mostly I have copies,
All right.
to hand out.
Yep.
This is, I think, Dan had already discovered one typo where they didn't correct the index on page numbers. But I believe they got in all the comments that the, council had for them
I'm sorry.
to change, and they should have. And that was the objective, so this is the corrected copy. And I wanna make sure everybody had one. It's on the web.
Oh, good.
But it's, having one, I think you'll find it useful if you really look at it, because it's a very useful document.
Yeah.
We've got a $75,000 study done here for us, very inexpensively.
Mhm.
But it costs us our 10 grand of CTAP money.
And it's
Yeah.
good that all these
But it's-
communities,
It's phenomenal.
Work
right,
with it,
are
yeah.
thinking in terms of what their different sort of piece of the pie is. So if people can be, if towns can be thinking in those terms, then
And of
don't
course,
step on each other's toes.
now that that's done, that leads into the next work program for you,
Right,
next item.
yes, next item. Last item on the schedule here is, and it's the 2010 work plan, what we want to be doing. And I guess, Steve and I talked about this a little bit about a week ago, and you fairly quickly rattled off a few things that you thought we had accomplished, so maybe you can do that again, Steve, to
Not-
start
not-
us off.
Not in the top of my head. I'm trying to recall what the big thing I think we've accomplished is our nonprofit corporation, which was about ready to fold, is now active.
Industrial Corp.
Industrial Corp, which is of very significant change, and that's great. The Metro Center, which we've been a party of, is essentially established, and they're supposed to start making progress, but I think, again, it takes a long time for a number of communities to come together and feel comfortable, but all the select boards have joined in, et cetera. there's some economic analysis of a useful sort, not just number collection. And that's done, and I think that's excellent to start from.
Website, nearing
The
completion.
website, we shall get done, it is committed, and we've got the funds for it. It's a case of trying to get it finished and up. The council, who has recognized tourism sort of by much of their work now, which, you know, that hasn't been forever, and I think that's been good. Ray Tabor's working like mad. Got more involvement outside the group, that's good.
Mm-hmm,
And he's
Mhm.
doing that. So I think we've done things, and the weak place we've been is staying in touch with businesses. You know, we have to say that Utrus example is the one we saw when the sign went up. We shouldn't have that happen. So I think and obviously the birthday party is one of the ways that we may be able to get past some of that issue. But I think one of the things is, as I leave, I say, this council's gotta find a way to stay in touch with businesses out there. And you're in business, you know people, but to stay in touch in a group way so that we know what's going on before it happens. And if there's something that can be done to influence the right answer, or offering help or whatever's needed, we can do it. And the second thing I'd encourage is that the only way to make real progress is to decide on 1, 2, or 3 things, and not spread ourselves thin, but actually determine something the group wants to do, or some people in the group want to do. Some of the examples we talked about, as I remember now, is we talk about trails and trailheads in the water, and we have the place down next to the pump station,
Mm-hmm, on Union.
and that could get done like Ray's doing with trails. I mean, it needs permission of the town, it needs permission of the sewer commission, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of, it just needs to be made public. It's sort of sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's like a little tiny project that somebody who said, boy, I wanna make that happen, could get it done before summer.
Yeah.
And there are probably other things like that, and some of those, I think, we need to have a success we can see and feel good about.
Right.
In the short term also.
Right, Al?
I look at this group as instigators, not,
Describe that. I'm glad you're saying that. Not necessarily in those words, but pretty much, because there's a couple things I had written
An
down.
instigator is a group of, a person or a group of people that think on the big picture,
Mm-hmm,
and then go out and solicit, if you wanna call it, through their own personal knowledge of people, to perform the activity. Meaning, like with Ray here, remember, I've written some couple crazy articles on hiking in Goffstown, and now maybe that did something, I don't know. I happened to meet Ray, who I never knew, right? Who took me up the mountain with a selectman, who we almost killed.
by his own volition,
By
right?
his own volition, and he took his wife and 2 girls too at the same time. I thought they were gonna die even first, beforehand. And the whole thing is, what comes out of it is, immediately you've got 10 or 12 captive people that are interested in some fashion, and Ray in his own way has enlisted somebody else who's become interested, a couple more people,
About a half a dozen.
half a dozen people, and that's how things happen.
Mm-hmm,
You can't be the performer. We can't do the performance.
right.
So what we have to do is assist anybody, any way we can, as the instigator, to help them achieve where it takes more expert knowledge, to fight officialdom, I call it, meaning selectmen, planning boards, councils, whatever, because an individual, I know I'm saying Ray, he's been around too long, but some people are afraid to confront public agencies because they're not used to it. And that's what we should do for them, when they come up against those kinds of things. So, when I say instigator is, I can come up with 1,000 different ideas, as you all well know. And who knows what's gonna come of them.
Mhm.
But the idea is, as those things have developed and people become interested, 2 or 3 people here get interested, then we need to enlist the public, I'll call it the public if you wanna call it,
Mhm.
to perform. Those folks that have generated an interest, you've generated an interest from them,
Mhm.
let them be the implementer, if you wanna call it, of those kinds of programs.
Well, and I wanted you to elaborate because, you know, when I was thinking about this discussion tonight, one of the things I did was look at our little economic development goals that we have here.
Mhm.
We've got 4 of them, and the 2 in the middle say support. Support the Goffstown Industrial Development Corp. And support the Board of Selectmen economic development initiatives. And my reaction when I read it was, and, you know, and I was part of creating that, but are we more than that? So I was glad you,
I
because it
think
seems
we-
to me we may be supporting, but I think we potentially have a bigger opportunity.
I think any individual that serves on the board is there as an instigator, whether it be the school board or whether it be someone, you're there to drive some other organization and employ other people to produce the results.
Mhm.
That's all. In our particular case, John Q. Public is our best employee,
Mhm.
so to speak. I mean, there's 250 that's not gonna come off with just a few committees and the select board doing it.
Mhm.
It's gonna take a whole team of people to
Mhm.
put it together, but the instigator in this instance is selectmen,
Mhm.
so to speak, because
We
they're-
have a website, just started today, I can't remember how,
Is there a link from the town?
not yet.
But there will be.
There should be, yeah, there should be.
But I happened to
Let
read
me-
an article, I think it was in today's paper. Somebody by the name of Dubriel just wrote a book.
DeBrule, Elizabeth
Right.
DeBrule.
The rule.
Is it Dubriel or Dubriel?
No, it's DeBrule.
Okay.
It's different than,
Different,
I would have pronounced it the way you're saying too. but that's
I did
right.
too in the beginning. Oh, it's
She's on
the
are you
Brule.
French?
Historic District Commission.
Right,
She's
and
up-
she's
up at
co-chair,
St.
as you said, of the 250th.
Yeah,
but see, you know, I read that article, I say, that person should be on the committee for the 250th because they're interested in the history of Goffstown.
she is.
And she's, right,
She's the
co-chair.
See,
She's
I don't know
co-chair.
that.
Right,
Where would I find that out? Who's on the committee?
is it on the website, town's website?
You know, I don't even know.
They have
I
a
didn't even
website?
check that. I just saw it, she just sent me an email and said, check out our new website. And she put, I'll email you guys,
Yeah,
okay?
Thank you.
With
In
the-
fact, the link, you know how in the towns they have sort of new things right on the front?
Mm.
Oh, yes, right,
Neil could link to it.
Oh, yeah, I know he could.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be great.
Just ask him when you send it over.
Yeah, yeah, I will. I'll
Okay,
send it
'cause
to
that-
Neil too.
Yeah, because he can do that very quickly, so.
so other thoughts? Matt, Steve?
you know what our one goal should be?
What?
There should be 12 people here, sitting here, than 6.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we do that?
That's probably part of our discussion.
No, that should be our goal.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause you can't do anything with 6 people,
Well, you can, but you're limited.
limited,
I
too
think,
limited.
I think part of that, and then part of the instigator thing is, there may be like project-specific areas where we can like pull volunteers in, just to work on one thing, and
Mhm.
they don't wanna work
Mhm.
on anything else
Yeah,
ever again.
Like
but-
almost like a subcommittee or a ad
Yeah.
hoc committee to the,
Yeah,
Yep.
do like a project-by-project ad hoc committee, it like multiplies our
project
own,
committees.
you know, our own numbers.
Right.
Even if it's just for one thing, and then that
Well,
builds.
It also may, sort of foster new members to the council,
Generate some interest.
generate some future members who might wanna step up to the next.
We can, in a newsletter is a good way to kinda do that, even quarterly, in Pittsfield, we had in October, we had a big kind of community meeting thing, and one of the byproducts of that was we got all the email lists from a lot of people in town, business owners, interested citizens, and everyone in between. And now I send a newsletter out, and I have stuff all over it. It'll say one thing in particular is, looking for volunteers for projects or whatever.
Mhm. So is this a newsletter for the town or for economic development?
Strictly for economic development. So the intent is we stay in the, in the face of the businesses, and
Right.
we're reaching out, and I'll do like a highlighted article on like one economic development tool, whether it's the 79E thing
Mhm.
or whatever, I'll talk about it, and then in the sidebar, there's always, hey, we're looking for help with projects or this or that.
And are you using a service for that?
Yep, constant contact.
Constant contact?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but I think those two things could be very helpful.
Yep.
Get, like, I guess ad hoc, groups together from people in town. And the more people you pull in for just one project, the better. I mean, if we have 10 projects through the course of the year and we pull in 10 people, that's
Mhm.
100 people, that know what we're doing. and
Right.
It gets a project done and it gets the word out. And
Right.
to throw the
And if some of
newsletter-
those people, for instance, go to the chamber
Yeah.
meetings, then that's more exposure and,
And that spins off the whole thing of, if we do networking, we don't know where to lead, if we reach out to people.
Hmm.
So,
Steve, any thoughts particular? How about projects that, and Steve was suggesting, and it's my concern too, that we try to be a little focused. I don't know what everybody else thinks about, just picking one or two things, at least in the shorter term, so that we have some success. I don't know if it's a big project, if it's a small project, if we do something in this part of town, but we also make sure we do something in the Penardville section of town. I don't know if we, should be paying attention to that kind of sort of political piece, the importance of that, so.
Maybe we ought to just now do the spring and say this, this forum activity with the 250th is what ought to be done.
Mhm.
Because there's gonna be more there than you think, once you,
Right,
as a start anyways, let's say the first quarter.
mm-hmm. If I can just ask another question, Matt, about the newsletter that you're doing. So are you doing that, how is that sort of authorized? And I heard you say you were doing it, so are you doing it
Yeah.
out of your regional planning office?
Yep, so what I do is I write the newsletter, then at the bottom, it goes out kind of under the signature of the chairman of the EDC.
Okay,
And it goes out, and pretty much it consists of, because in Pittsfield, so much of what we're trying to do is, as they would say in the Kennedy administration, manage the news, because there's so much bad news that comes out constantly. And there are good stories, but the Concord Monitor just latches on to the sensational, ugly stuff because, well, that's what sells
that's what,
papers.
right, that's what,
Yep,
right, gets
so-
people to pick up the paper, right?
Yeah, and we have wars with the Monitor all the time. So one of the things we're trying to do is, tell the businesses what we're doing and remind people, because we have things on, like 79E, and also the 162N, which is moving businesses into a part of the downtown. You get a state tax break, but nobody knows about these things and nobody uses them. And it's like, we used to just send letters out periodically and nothing would happen.
Mm-hmm,
And we've done a couple newsletters now, and I'll discuss one of the economic development tools, and then we're gonna have like a nice story about a new business that opened. I can't remember what were in the last two that I wrote, but, and then looking for volunteers for different projects, looking for project ideas, and then at the bottom, it's, chairman of the EDC, his name.
is it a one-pager, or how many pages? Just one
Yeah,
page?
it's like a long one pager. If you print it, it probably comes out as 2 pages based on
Mhm.
what I have in there. But
Right,
for the most part, it's it's like a 1-page email
Mhm.
newsletter.
It's all email distributed.
yeah. I mean, we use Constant Contact for our six times a year newsletter out of Cooperative Extension, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna try quarterly right now, so we started, so we did October,
Mhm.
and then I just did the winter one beginning in December. So the spring one will be coming up soon,
Mhm.
so. But yeah, I think it's, you know, I think it's gonna work well. We haven't, it's still kinda new and like we haven't had, I don't know, it's hard to tell the impact of it right now. But, I mean, we're staying, people see what we're doing, they
Mhm.
see all the information that we have. And we list, you know, like I'll talk about one economic development tool people can use, and then I'll have a list underneath of like 10 other ones, you know?
Mhm.
I don't know, it seems to, it can't hurt, I guess,
Right,
at the very
right,
least.
Right, well, and I think that's what people look for these days in general.
Cause there's so much going on to
Right.
tell them, you know, here's X, here's this story,
Right.
here's this,
Mhm.
here's that.
Right, right.
It helps.
That's a good one. How many of us are write for letters for a living?
Letters or,
Anything.
I have,
well,
I have.
How many of
I'm
us
not
only
on
have to
board.
write for a living?
well, I don't do it for a living
Okay,
per se.
all right, but per se, you're accustomed to writing letters to generate things. Why can't each one of us write a single article
Mhm.
a month, one person each month,
Mhm.
an article to go into the Goffstown News about something that's going on that has economic benefits to the community? How many people read this thing?
Mhm.
I mean, I obviously glance at it because I kind of skip by Hopkinton and Bow and a few other places, but people read this thing. They at least look at it.
Mhm.
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 Why
I think
can't-
a lot of people don't even know that economic development exists.
I think you're
No,
probably right.
absolutely.
I think you're probably right.
Byline by, let's see, we could actually do one on the current project that's succeeding. Have you had an article in the newspaper? I haven't seen it yet.
That's it.
That's just one. But if you took a,
Coming.
I understand, but if you took say a new business that you heard about,
Mhm.
that's just opened in town. So you go there, say it's a restaurant, you go there, eat, you write, I'm the casual diner, and I wrote, well, it's good, bad, or ugly,
Mhm.
all right, but they're there,
Mhm.
even if it's this, but you can take up 3/4 of it with a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because people drive around town and they gee, I saw that in the newspaper, but it might be a farm stand. Who
Mhm.
cares what it is?
Right.
Do you think anybody like the farm stand out here on 114 that gets a couple $100 of my money every year for seeds and whatever, do you don't think they wouldn't be grateful for a
Mhm,
short article
course.
about what they're doing?
Mhm.
It gives you a chance to call them, ask what they got going on.
They might even
is that
call
a-
you, looking to see if you'll feature them.
Yeah, why not? Written by so-and-so of Economic Development Council.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Sure.
I'm just sitting here,
Right.
my brain's
Yeah.
going 90
Right.
miles an hour, but I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
Having to glance at this, and there's nothing in here about anything new. Car crashes. 13-year-old sex offender.
Police log.
An artist burns his shop down. A tax hike. God bless America.
Would be a good paper.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I
I think it's
do
a good
too.
idea too.
I think people would know that we exist.
Yeah.
Especially if it was a monthly
But,
article.
but see, it's like the hardware store in Pinardville, right?
Mhm.
I went there 3 times trying to get them to fill out that business application,
Mhm.
and I could get it, 0. So now I go in there and say, I'm writing a little article about your store to go in the Goffstown News under economic
You got 10
development.
minutes?
Get their
You don't think they won't be interested? If they are, I'll write an article, a negative one,
Right.
just like the rest of
Right,
these.
right, it could just as well be the business that's been in
That's
town
right.
for 50 years as opposed to the one who just opened a new business.
Sure.
Maybe
Sure.
there's somebody out there that does mixed jelly in the garage, I don't know, I'm sure there are.
Mhm.
Probably.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
it's just, it sounds ridiculous, but maybe we can talk to Larry Brown. I mean, some very obvious businesses in town, you know, what they see as the future and what they're trying to do for the town. It doesn't hurt their business, you know, help, I think.
So we could make this, like you said, a monthly and do it as a an article on,
It's my
a
turn in
feature
February, it's your
business.
turn in March. Or some, you know, it's not like you gotta do it
Every month.
every month, it's just one article per month. And if you find that it succeeds, then maybe it transforms itself into somebody that's sitting over there that loves to write and does one a month.
So
At
do you,
least- yeah.
if we wanna do it monthly, I'm suspecting we may need, and I'd be happy to do it, call them and let them know this is what we're thinking of doing. We intend to be reliable, and that we'll submit once a month.
Yeah, they just moved back to East
Weekly.
Industrial Park Drive too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did
Yeah,
they?
I'm-
Yeah, they
really
just
clear what
got
it
out of
was.
Elm Street. Back to Nichols.
Okay.
So, I no longer can walk next door and rattle their cage.
All right, well, I will contact them, and you're ready to take on February?
I'll do February.
All right.
Great.
I don't know what it'll be. You gonna take me hiking or
Well,
snowshoeing?
and I'll talk to them about, you know, what we've talked about here and see how they're able to accommodate us, and if there's a particular, or we just submit it and they'll put it in sometime that month based upon availability of space or
You
whatever.
give them a couple pictures and a little article, lead-in article,
Mm-hmm,
they should be all over it,
mm-hmm.
cause they're
Something like
starving for
this,
local
too.
news.
Even something like this is.
And it's
news-
done.
It's newsworthy,
Mhm.
you know,
Cul-de-sacs,
it's done,
Y, Z.
it's a lot of information, it's an economic development story, you know, we're finding ways to, you know,
It could be crazy, because there may be some businessman who's sitting there in his pizza parlor, well, in the mid-afternoon, and he reads it and he says, gee whiz,
Or she,
excuse me.
business person.
My wife will remind me when I get home, that I should have included the women. And, it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got a project, and we've got, I think as Steve had suggested, we need to be focused on how we make this, our contribution to this 250th
So here-
successful.
The best article on the front page is what? The advertisement by Tom Boschman. Seriously, you like him or dislike him, I don't care, but there's somebody who would probably voice their opinion, I imagine,
Mhm.
about something. What's the real estate doing, what's the commercial atmosphere? I don't know, I think of 100 things, right or wrong.
Is there, go ahead, Steve.
I just think it is, I think the newspaper's a good idea, because email's good, but I know personally, if I don't recognize it, I don't read it.
Mm-hmm,
If
That's
I'm
true.
looking for specific things when I look at my email, and the rest of it I just brush aside.
right.
People do read newsy items versus fire destroys artist workshop, or probably everybody glances over Tina arrested unless they recognize the guy. All right? They don't read that stuff, well, at least I don't.
Well,
Just
everybody
one
may
person
not
doesn't
read this article either, but I think you're gonna get good exposure.
Mm-hmm,
I do too.
Yeah, even if they just look at the headline,
Right.
you know,
right.
What are they gonna
It's
say?
the
What-
picture and
what's
the
economic
caption underneath
development,
it,
or what's-
That's
Well-
important. The article doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Believe me.
And if we can get, work on getting a newsletter up, which I think is a good idea also, that can also just be posted on the town's website, so people can go
Well,
and.
see, all these articles can go on
Mm-hmm,
that
right,
news website, as,
mm-hmm,
the same thing can be inserted in there,
right,
done.
right, yep,
And that's, once we have our booth or whatever it is, you know, that's when we collect the
Mm.
email addresses
Yes.
of the people that are
Mhm.
absent.
absolutely,
Because that's what we did at our meeting in October in
Right.
Pittsfield, is we had everybody, I mean, it was, here's the first, here's a newsletter, you know, and then right next to it was sign up for emails of future ones, and
Right.
like 50 people signed up, so
Mm.
it's pretty good.
good, that's good. Good. Are there any specific projects we should be thinking about in the community?
I'll be quiet.
Why?
I can think of 100 things, but that's okay.
And I'm just saying, if we really write once a month and do it,
Mm-hmm,
and take care of the 250th anniversary piece,
mm-hmm,
That's a
that's a
lot.
good chunk. That's a good chunk. You
Mhm.
don't need anything
Agree.
else right now.
right,
In the summer, you can think whether you wanna add something else, the
Okay.
250th will be
And-
behind you.
That's
And
right.
having this,
But probably it'll spin off what
Spawn
you've already
things.
done.
right, right,
And that,
Right.
something you'll need to do.
good.
As much as everybody hates it, everybody likes a little personal recognition in these efforts. So
Mhm.
anytime you can say, this group of people, or that group of people, or a whole bunch of volunteers, assisted in something, that kudos to the people that help, because they do benefit the community greatly.
Mhm.
Now, the goals that are currently on here, do we change these at all? Do we substitute what we've said with, our piece for the, whatever language we wanna use for the 250th and writing monthly letters, or articles? We're talking about articles, not newsletters, right? A story,
It's a
Article.
story.
right?
It
Right.
could be, we're sitting here talking, what's the newest business in town right now? Anybody got an idea, name?
Well, there is a new one going in to replace the
Yeah.
takeout food.
There's a deli,
place
there's a
over.
deli bagel deli place
Where?
this one?
coming. I've seen their sign permit.
Right out,
Right here on Main Street,
right out in front of Larry's on the corner
on the
there.
corner. one of
Oh,
Oh, it used to be the
Two friends,
humble pie.
or humble,
those. And several others.
Yeah.
Right, two friends or something is the
Yes.
most
Oh.
recent, now it's
They
changing.
didn't,
Somebody knew
they
it.
couldn't agree
Yeah.
with each other?
Well, they have another location in
Not two,
Pinardville,
not
actually.
two good friends,
Yeah,
it was
they
two
do.
other friends.
and
They-
they
they-
do well down there.
Yeah, they've been established there for
Okay,
quite a while.
do we have a contact person? Do we know somebody that's doing it?
Robbie does, I know Robbie's mentioned it to me, Robbie Grady, so.
I don't mind contacting them and say, hey, would you like the
Be our
EDC to be our first article? I'll go talk to them,
Sure.
no problem. I love food.
You got paintbrushes in there, huh?
Oh, I can do that too.
Steve? Looks
I
like you're
think-
getting ready to say something.
No, I was just thinking, Robbie is a good one to, particularly in the village, not
Mhm.
Bernardville, but in
Yeah.
the village, to, if you wanna write an article and you wanna say who's doing something, she could give you a lead
Oh, yeah.
easily.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's the other thing, is you don't want to, forget the various areas in town.
Mm-hmm,
No,
Whether it be somebody's redoing the expensive doors in the old Grange Hall over there in Grassmere,
mm-hmm.
or somebody in Bernardville is starting something new.
Mm.
New is better.
Well, and it could be a story, on what Steve was talking about before, is with, the site on Union Street for the, sewer department and,
yeah,
Mhm.
a piece on that, or maybe that and 2 or 3 other potential locations for increased water access, which was a huge thing in the,
I think the other
report for,
the other thing that's very
master planning
active
for
is-
recreation.
is somebody to take this and say, it told us 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm.
And you can find this on the website if you wanna see the whole thing. And that's,
But the idea on the boat access down there,
Mm-hmm.
but if you have an article, what it does is it
Exposes it.
exposes it and it reduces what I call the jitters, or the people that come up and the one, NIMBY or whatever you wanna call them,
Mm-hmm.
from focusing, because it also helps the commission in the decision-making
Sure.
process too,
Absolutely.
because it shows public support, and support is very hard to say no to,
Mm-hmm.
if you think it's important. Without support, they can say, well, you don't have any support in the community, so,
Mm-hmm.
away you go. See you later. It's very difficult to send you bye-bye when you got good publicity or
Yeah.
something else in the newspaper, whether it be schools or otherwise.
So, do we want to continue with these current goals? Are we substituting them, or we? Says
why don't
complete,
the first one is the one that's, it could be converted to be,
what we've talked about.
Yeah, a monthly article for, the paper
Mhm.
and, support of activity at the 250th anniversary.
And support the Goffstown Industrial Development Corporation
I think those
I
stay.
think that's
appropriate,
key,
right.
because
right?
Yeah,
I don't know very little about them, other than Tony
That could be
March
another article.
and,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Art Rose Senior is on there.
Yep.
And,
Tony,
the realtor, the appraiser,
Larry Emerson.
Larry Emerson
Larry,
is on there.
Yep.
They're all old timers. I shouldn't say that. I'm talking about myself.
They're old timers.
They're peers of some people.
But, also, but, you know, yes,
Thank you.
true, but if you think about that, I don't know, they were here one night, or at planning or someplace, and the four of them were here.
Mhm.
And my thought was, where's the young guys?
Oh, Tony's not that old.
Oh, no, he's not.
It's older than dirt.
All right, support the Board of Selectmen economic development initiatives, is that the appropriate way to say that?
Yes,
Maybe
because they kinda drive us,
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones that supposedly give us some direction.
Would it be too much to say support and guide, or support and advise, something like that? So like it's a two-way thing? Or is that?
I think I'd leave this one alone.
Just leave it like it is, all right,
Yeah.
it's worked the way it is, we'll leave it as it is, right?
I think the important one, the first one is the
Right.
one you're adjusting, cause that's what you're gonna do here,
Mhm.
as far as real activity, and the other is, it just reminds you.
Well, and number
you have
four
in
is
front
what
of
we're
you.
doing.
Yeah.
What we're talking about tonight is what we're doing, being proactive, proactive proponent for business retention
You're
and
combining, you're
expansion, that's what we
combining them
just talked
actually.
about.
Yeah, you
But
gotta
who
double.
owns that junky thing next, across from Sully's, it's got all the jukebox in it, is that your joint?
No,
Oh,
that's
Tommy
not my
Hall.
joint.
That's Tommy Holes,
That's Tom Hall's radio and TV repair.
which he,
I
well, he's
don't know
never
what it
there.
is, I mean, it's a cute little place, I'd love to have that jukebox, but I probably never get it.
There's a lot of them there, a lot of jukeboxes there.
Oh,
Bring,
yeah.
But-
bring money.
Yeah, bring a lot of it. You'll need a
His stuff is worth money?
lot of
Those
money,
jukeboxes are gold. as
Yeah.
far
Oh,
as these
yeah,
ones are.
Yeah.
they're all antiques.
That's
Yeah.
fine, but I mean, wouldn't it be, you know, I mean, he's in business to
Mhm.
move them, but I never knew who it was. I drive by it 3 or 4 times a week
mm-hmm,
and admire the stuff in the window.
He's
may-
not there often.
No.
He had a stroke several years ago, and
I think he's had a couple,
yeah.
But when you drive around town and you see something going on, just put it in the little memory bank.
Mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
And then, when, as a group here, we can talk about it, maybe it
Yeah.
leads into something for some article that somebody's gonna do.
all right. Anything else?
Yeah, General Stark Highway, what the heck is that, the Bioway or whatever?
The bioway, not biomass, right? The general,
Highway.
the John Stark Regional Byway,
Mm-hmm.
it's a 30
There was some-
33 mile, we just had an annual meeting.
Well, but I remember that coming down the road at planning a while ago, we didn't support the darn thing, did we?
Town did,
Yeah, the town did.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they provided members.
The selectmen, passed a resolution and
Yeah.
provided 2 appointees to.
Actually, 4 from each community.
Now,
I-
yeah,
I-
but see, now that's a good lead-in article.
Mhm.
There's no-
Actually, there was just an article on it in paper,
I know.
that's
what-
maybe why you're talking about
Oh,
it.
I'm just,
See, you read the paper.
I read the,
So what exactly is
I
it?
read it every day,
It's
faithfully.
a 33-mile route that runs through Goffstown, Dunbarton, Ware, and New Boston, all on the state roads,
Purple.
7713.
Yeah.
You know.
So why don't we sponsor a bike race on the 250th?
Well, they're
33
talking,
miles.
They told
they're
me about
actually,
that.
they were actually talking about, a bike race and several other things. They had an event in December, at the
The Molly Stark.
Molly Stark House in Dunbarton. So there's some things underway. It fits economic development,
But see,
it
now,
fits
it-
tourism.
Yeah.
There's actually a desire, there were some speakers at the annual meeting
Mhm.
talking about the need, because none of the 4 communities have any beds. No bed and breakfasts, no places to
No
stay
hotels.
overnight in any of those 4 towns. So, and there's opportunities in town for that, here.
I think in every community there probably is.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be big. All you gotta do is take the.
Another article.
Well, that's true, but.
Oh, yeah, you can write
It's
all
another
week.
article.
No, but, you know, you're the instigator, so if you're writing articles, you go to them, can you write an article for the EDC on what
Mhm.
you got going on?
Mm-hmm,
You employ somebody else to do your work for you,
mm-hmm,
but you can get 3 or 4 people doing. Now you got 4 articles, 1 per week.
mm-hmm.
I've asked the
You gotta think big. If you think 1 article a month, you're
that
losing it.
You're you're
Huh?
on that,
I'm on
aren't
the,
you?
yeah,
Yeah.
sharing the
Is
byway
we,
council.
we have a historic district that is on the register
Mhm.
down here on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that as the byway came through the middle of town, there should be some recognition of that. And you have a lot of actors. I mean, you've got a historic district, you've got a historic private
Several,
group.
yeah.
You've got Main Street,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and then we've got the byway. Well, between them,
Mm-hmm.
those are the assets that would say, look what we are, bing, we've
Right.
got this historic district. You don't know it now, you just drive down the street.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right.
You know? So, I don't know who does that, or whether
Well,
the
and there's actually
council-
been some
whether
discussion
the
too.
council's the instigator to
There's-
others.
talked about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Or
and the marketing group that meets for the byway council is talking about signage and ways to promote so
Mhm.
people can recognize that, you know, they're on the byway and,
Well, we have those groups in town that probably could be encouraged to go do it if the council is the appropriate instigator in
Mhm.
that case,
Mm-hmm.
to move forward and get it done in time for the 250th.
So can we get somebody from the byways committee to sit on this group?
you're looking at the chair.
Can we
Your
get him,
fault, huh?
can we get him to do
You're a
some?
glutton.
sign-
Consider it done. Wow, you really act fast, Al.
Oh, God.
What an instigator.
Well, he did say
Robin,
he
get-
likes to be an instigator, didn't
That's
he?
right.
It is. Well, that's what I do at work. I'm the
Mhm.
instigator.
That's good, though.
I mean, I shouldn't tell you what I'm trying to instigate now. He knows. I mean, it's off the wall. But I mean, it takes, I don't know, who can help you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Could be Barack Obama, but I'm not black.
That has something to do with it?
No, I think it does.
Okay. I don't think we're going there.
Okay, all right.
Anything else that anybody has?
Will you come on GTV?
Sure. I keep trying to reach Dick
Uh,
about the
I know.
charrette stuff, so I'm
Well,
waiting for him to get back to me because it's been,
There's somebody I
Wow.
met yesterday. I can't remember her last name. First name is Sarah. She works for the Moore Center. She's moving out here to the station area. She's trying to buy a house out there. And she is she works for, she's doing something for Goffstown TV.
Well, there are a lot of people now starting to recognize it.
Yeah, but to recognize it, but do they get any recognition for their effort?
well,
Other article,
we'll,
we got June.
we'll let GTV worry about that, though.
No, but see, the
No,
thing
but they
is,
should, we have a volunteer here, they should get recognition,
Mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd volunteer more.
mm-hmm.
But we
That's
can't
true.
get rid of him, he stays here, so. He's a good man.
All right.
but see, it's, how do you get people to do things that you would like them to do?
Mm-hmm.
That they're happy doing it, but don't realize they did it. Okay, or the results that it can inflict, if you wanna call it that. The good stuff it will do.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're all optimists here. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're serving.
That's very true.
You don't see many pessimists in these committees or groups. There's always an optimist who's got something they'd like to do,
Mm-hmm.
they wanna accomplish it, they wanna work for. And there are a lot of those out there, you just gotta find them. So
Right.
publicity is the way. Yes, sir.
There's a brand new website. It's called GoffstownTrails.com,
GoffstownTrails.com?
and it's up and running right now.
Oh, good.
And have you sought, or have you linked it already with the town?
One of my, the gentleman that's the webmaster for the New Hampshire division of the AMC.
Oh,
He
Dave?
came, didn't he come to
David?
it
Yep,
last meeting?
David Pierce?
Yes.
he came. And he's doing it, and it's gonna be fantastic.
He came with
You're gonna be able to click on different come up.
Ah,
And it's gonna include all the trails, the rail trail, the whole 9 yards.
wow, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, Kim is very good.
But then, I happened to cut an article out of the newspaper, somebody was having a snowshoe, a sponsored snowshoe hike,
Mm-hmm,
and they were looking for 12 people, they only wanted up to 12 people, it was a little article. If you could do something like that, and you go do it, and you get some pictures, you got a great cause for a nice little article.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Or, I used to do, Cub Scouts and fishing derbies when I was
mm-hmm,
young and stupid.
mhm.
I used to stock my pond in front of the house, and I'd have a fishing derby for kids.
mm-hmm.
The most fun I ever had. But maybe somebody needs to do something like that here,
Do you leave any of the fish for the Cub Scouts?
We used to.
huh? What was that
Said,
one?
did you leave any of the fish for the Cub Scouts?
I do have a couple left.
They had the most fun.
Yeah, really.
But I mean, you can think of a lot of things to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You can't do everything, so
Right.
as the instigator, now I gotta find a fisherman that's really crazy enough and find a pond, a farm pond, that'll let us do it.
Right.
You could do something like
Mhm.
that.
mm-hmm.
Gotta be under 10 years old, gotta come with your mother or father.
They used to do it up on Mountain Road
Yeah,
at John Carney's.
At John Karenikis's, right?
Wouldn't that be a great thing to do again?
Mhm.
So, can we think of anything to do? We certainly can, at least I can. anyways.
All right, do we have anything else for the council tonight?
Send me home, will you? I haven't had dinner yet.
I'm trying to shut you off. Politely.
Want me to move to adjourn?
Please.
Hey.
Motion made. Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Instigator to the end.
Aye.
See, you're the instigator, I follow, cause I got a reason to
7:45.
go home. I'm hungry.